The sun was beating down on the dusty streets of El Paso, where two cowboys stood facing each other. They both had their hands hovering above their holsters, ready to draw at the slightest provocation. The townsfolk had gathered around to witness the impending duel, and a hush fell over the crowd as the first cowboy spoke. "This town ain't big enough for the both of us," he said, spitting out a wad of tobacco. The second cowboy looked him up and down, sizing him up. "Well, I ain't planning on leaving anytime soon," he replied, his voice low and gravelly. The tension between the two men was palpable, but it was broken by an unexpected interruption. The first cowboy looked around and furrowed his brow. "No, really," he said, turning back to the second cowboy. "This town really ain't big enough for the both of us." The second cowboy looked at him in confusion. "What the hell are you talking about?" "Well, think about it," the first cowboy said, gesturing to the buildings around them. "The saloon's got a leaky roof, the jail's practically falling apart, and I hear the church steeple's about to come crashing down any day now." The second cowboy looked around, taking in the dilapidated buildings. "I reckon you're right," he said, scratching his chin. "Maybe we should be fixing up the town instead of dueling each other." The first cowboy nodded in agreement. "You know what? You're damn right. Let's put our guns away and start hammering some nails." The townsfolk watched in amazement as the two cowboys put their differences aside and started working together to repair the town's buildings. It wasn't the showdown they had been expecting, but it was a happy ending nonetheless. And who knows, maybe the next time there was a dispute in El Paso, they'd find a different way to settle it, one that didn't involve violence. The first building they tackled was the saloon. It was a ramshackle affair with crooked walls and a leaky roof. The cowboys set to work straight away, hammering nails, sawing planks, and patching up the holes in the roof. As they worked, the townsfolk started to gather around them. They were amazed at the sudden change of heart in the two men who had been on the brink of killing each other only moments before. "It's about time someone did something about this town," one of the onlookers said, nodding approvingly. The cowboys worked tirelessly for hours, fixing up the saloon until it was as good as new. Then they moved on to the jail, which was in an even worse state. The walls were crumbling and the bars on the windows were rusted and weak. But the cowboys were undeterred. They set to work with their hammers and saws, repairing the walls and reinforcing the bars. By the time they were done, the jail was looking strong and sturdy. Next, they turned their attention to the church. The steeple was indeed in danger of falling down, and the roof was badly in need of repair. The cowboys climbed up onto the roof, working together to replace the missing tiles and patch up the holes. As they worked, the sun started to set over the town, casting long shadows across the dusty streets. The townsfolk had gathered around, watching in awe as the cowboys transformed their town before their very eyes. When they were finally done, the cowboys stepped back to admire their handiwork. The town looked better than it had in years, with the buildings standing tall and proud. The cowboys had even added a few extra touches, like a new sign for the saloon and a fresh coat of paint on the jail. The townsfolk cheered and clapped as the cowboys descended from the roof of the church, their hats held in their hands. They had saved the town, not with their guns, but with their hammers and nails. "Well, I'll be damned," one of the onlookers said, grinning from ear to ear. "I never thought I'd see the day when those two would work together." The cowboys grinned back, feeling a sense of pride in their work. They had proven that there were better ways to solve problems than with violence. The two men parted ways, but they knew that they had a new respect for each other. They might not have been friends, but they were no longer enemies either. As the sun set over El Paso, the townsfolk drifted back to their homes, feeling a sense of hope for their town's future. They had seen that even in the face of conflict, there was always a way to come together and make things better. The cowboys walked back to their respective lodgings, feeling a sense of satisfaction in their work. They had put their guns away and picked up hammers, and in doing so, they had changed the course of their own destinies. From that day forward, El Paso was a different town. The buildings were stronger, the people were happier, and there was a sense of community that had been missing for years. And all because two cowboys had realized that sometimes the biggest battles could be won with a hammer and a nail.